Engineer Gold Mines is focused on the exploration and development of the historic high-grade Engineer Gold Mine situated 32 kilometers southwest of Atlan, British Columbia. Engineer Gold Mines is fully permitted for surface and underground exploration with the 2019 drill program now underway. Engineer Gold Mines Limited trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol EAU. For more information, please visit us at engineergoldmines.com.
Welcome to the Goddard Report. Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Sharon Noble, Director of the BC Coalition to Stop Smart Meters. Welcome back to the show, Sharon.
Hi, Jim. Thank you so much.
Sharon, now that we're in election season, what should people do if they're concerned about the proliferation of 5G and smart meters?
Now is the opportunity for them to go to the meetings. Go to public meetings, confront the candidates, inform them and the people who are at the meeting what 5G is, have some very sparse notes, and ask them what their stance is. Make them make a commitment to stop 5G until it can be proven to be safe. And I'll bet you dollars to donuts, not one of them will know anything about it, and I'll bet you dollars to donuts they won't say a thing. What we need to do is to educate the public. And going to these public meetings, you probably won't make any headway with the politicians, but you'll inform a whole lot of people who are listening. And there are certain points that people should be making. First, 5G is going to be using technology that is now used for military purposes, for crowd control. There's been no studies proving it's safe, and the only studies available for any microwave radiation that's been done on 5G shows that it's unsafe. And many experts are warning that it could have health ramifications that we can't even imagine. Secondly, it's going to be used to gather data of personal nature through the smart meters and through other means to the Internet of Things. That's the entire purpose of 5G, really, is to gather data. And another point is that there's more information now coming out that 5G, the frequencies that are going to be used, are going to be interfering with things such as weather forecasting. The current hurricane would have probably had forecasts that were 30 to 40% less accurate. And how important is that when people are trying to figure out what they're going to do and how they're going to get out of the way? I'm encouraging people to get out there, educate, and if possible, get your MP to make a commitment. If he wants your vote, tell him to make a commitment that he will learn about 5G and he is going to do everything he can to stop the proliferation of it until it's proven to be safe.
Is one of the problems the telecom companies have the politicians, as they say, by the short and curlies?
I don't know what the problem is, Jim. The cynic in me says that it's probably just like in the U.S., where money is involved, whether it's money for the election or money through lobbying. I don't know what it is, but it is darn hard, I would say almost impossible, to get a politician to stand with us with regard to any of this. I've written to some, and I've written to bureaucrats about the health issues, about Health Canada, about the fact that there are so many problems right now with Wi-Fi in schools, problems with the cell phones. Nothing. You can't get their attention. Nobody, not a single politician in British Columbia, as you well know, will do a thing about smart meters. I don't know how we get their attention. And I think I'm almost to the point where I'm convinced that it's only going to be through public action, groundswell, maybe lawsuits, that anything is ever going to happen. I don't know why politicians aren't doing their jobs. You know, asking them to make an agency like Health Canada to do its job, why should that be so difficult? I don't understand.
Are totalitarian regimes more wary of 5G than democratic ones? And I'm thinking of China and Russia.
I don't know. Not for 5G, I don't think, but I don't know. There are some countries, and I believe China is one, where they say they're not going to be implementing 5G yet. But yet, I don't know that for sure. I don't know where it's standing on this. There are sections of Belgium, sections of Switzerland, areas in the United States where they've taken a strong stand against 5G. It seems to be the areas where there are people who are willing to spend time educating and then going out and doing something. If you remember, in Europe, there have been quite a few rallies about 5G. There have also been a lot of symposiums, and there have been a lot of summits that have been available to the public. I don't think we've done that much here in North America. We have summits, but usually the people who attend the summits are other experts. There was a wonderful summit just this last weekend in the U.S., but it was so expensive. I would like to have gone, but it was, it probably would have cost $2,000 or $3,000 to attend. That's a lot of money. And the only people you're talking to there were basically the people who already knew that there was a problem. What we need to do is to figure out how to reach the other people. The media isn't doing anything. And in Europe, the media is more open. For instance, there have been a lot of articles about the cell phones exceeding the allowable limits in Europe. In the U.S., I've seen one in the Chicago Tribune. Now, this weekend, there is supposed to be a program on ABC, Full Measure, and in Victoria, it's on ABC at 10 o'clock in the morning. And it's supposed to be about 5G and its the health effects. I'm hoping that it presents true and independent information. I don't know for sure, but I'm going to watch it. I'm going to record it. And I would hope that other people will take the opportunity to take a chance on it and watch it. This is what we need, Jim. Only programs like yours are getting the word out there. Have you seen any information at all in Canada about the cell phones? I haven't.
Well, don't forget, Bell owns CTV. Shaw owns Global. They're all involved in the telephone business. CBC, for some reason, won't cover stories about 5G, but then you take a look, Hockey Night in Canada is sponsored by Huawei.
Yeah.
So they make so much money from the telecoms, they're not going to speak out about it at all.
You can't find anybody who will. And, the idea that the cell phones are emitting up to 11 times the allowable limit. Now, these are cell phones that were 450 models and brands, the most common used, including Apple, were tested in Europe, in France, and they found that 90% of them exceeded the allowable limits up to 11 times. This was confirmed with tests on far fewer phones, but the most popular phones, and there were Apple phones and Samsung phones, that confirmed that they were multiples above the allowable limit. Nothing's been in Canada about this. And I think that that's verging on criminal. People have a right to know it. And when you look at the fact that kids are taking cell phones to schools and using them all day long, some are using the Apples probably as computers. And they're doing it next to their bodies. And that is the worst possible situation that we could have. In the U.S., there are class action lawsuits starting against the cell phone companies, a major one against Apple and Samsung. But yet in Canada, we don't even know anything about this. And in schools, in various schools around the world now, kids are not being allowed to use wireless devices. In Ontario, kids are not allowed to use personal wireless devices in classrooms. They can use them during their free times, and they can use their cell phone during recess. this is pretty bad, but at least it's a first step. They're already inundated with Wi-Fi and with the smart boards and things like that. Dangerously high levels of radiation from wireless laptops, multiple wireless laptops, all working at the same time. But at least they're not going to be having their cell phones going too. And in Montreal, one school is banning cell phones, period, from even being in the school when they're on. They have to turn them off, put them in their lockers, turn them into the principal's office or something. And in British Columbia, we can't even get the education minister, Rob Fleming, to even acknowledge questions about cell phones in schools. He has his children, as I've been told, that he has a daughter who is going to a private school that does not allow cell phones. Yet he won't even discuss the possibility of eliminating cell phones and Wi-Fi in public schools. This is a major problem that our politicians at all levels will not listen to us, will not study science, and will not take any action. And your first question is, I don't know why. They must. The answer is usually money. Where are they getting it? Who's influencing them?
We'll have more with Sharon Noble right after this.
Cypress Development Corp. is developing a world-class lithium resource in the heart of Clayton Valley, Nevada. The size of the resource makes the Clayton Valley project a premier asset with the potential to impact the future of lithium supply. Cypress Development Corp. trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol CYP, the OTCQB, symbol CYDVF, and on Frankfurt, symbol C1Z1. For more information, please visit our website, cypressdevelopmentcorp.com.
Avon Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia and the Yukon, trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the OTCQB, symbol ABNAF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Avon's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at avonresources.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Sharon Noble. Sharon, is the CRTC reducing the ability of municipalities to resist the installation of smart meters and 5G towers?
Yes, they are. And they're trying to do even more. It's so very sad. But the municipalities have been losing power, piece by piece by piece. And it's not through laws. It's through policies. For instance, Industry Canada, years ago, was told after its fiasco here in British Columbia, here on Triangle Mountain, in fact, we took Industry Canada and we took Rogers to task for putting up FM towers and transmitters just across the street from me in the middle of a settled neighborhood. And in response, Alan Rock, who was Minister of Industry Canada at the time, said this should never happen again and told Industry Canada to strengthen its policies. Well, it took them 2 years. Now Alan Rock was no longer Minister of Industry Canada, and they came forward with policies that were even more pro-industry. And one of them is one that we're confronting now with 5G, is the fact that they don't have to tell anybody, they don't have to do any consultation, they don't even have to inform people when they're putting transmitters on existing structures. When they started this in 2003, when they wrote the policy initially, they explained this by saying it was because people don't care about health. All they care about is aesthetics. So let's eliminate the number or reduce the number of cell towers by making people put the transmitters on existing structures. Houses, poles, towers, tops of apartment buildings, whatever, trees, and they won't care. Of course, that wasn't true. And it's certainly not true today as more and more people know how dangerous it is. But this is what they're allowed to do. And now CRTC is being asked to ignore any regulation that, for instance, if they put in a consultation policy saying that microcells cannot be put on poles outside homes, or that they have to have a certain distance from homes, or if they have to inform the city that this is being done, the telecoms don't want this. They don't want to have to even do the simple thing of informing a city that they're going to be doing this. And they're going to CRTC, and it looks like CRTC is going to be granting them this. And I believe that people need to realize that the municipal governments are going to be shunted to the side. We're going to be told we have absolutely no rights, and that these things can be put outside our home. They could probably even be put on our home. If your neighbor right now said that he wanted to have a cell tower on his, or cell transmitter on his house, and the company is willing to pay him, say, $2,000 or $3,000 a month to do it, you'd be hard pressed to fight it. The rules are getting so weak that we're not going to have anything that we can do. This is something we should be going after our MPs for. We should be going after our elected officials and say, you've got to stand up for us. This is not acceptable. These transmitters are being put outside bedroom windows where children are sleeping, the most vulnerable people. This is going to be happening. It's happening already.
We'll have more with Sharon Noble right after the break.
Grand Portage Resources' Herbert Gold Project in southeast Alaska highlights increased gold resource, indicated and inferred, of 860,000 ounces, in excess of 10 grams per ton gold. Expansion drilling is planned on the Herbert Gold property for the summer of 2019. Grand Portage Resources trading symbols are GPG on the TSX Venture, GPTRF on the OTCQB, and GPB on Frankfurt. For more information, please visit our website, grandportage.com.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Sharon Noble. Sharon, what are some of the symptoms related to high magnetic fields that people might be exposed to with all this 5G and other stuff floating around the atmosphere?
Well, the high magnetic fields from power lines, from devices even in your home, seem to be very, very similar to those from people who are being exposed to high levels of radiation. One of the big ones is the inability for people to sleep. This is one of the first things that people complain about, and it's a very important one because we all know that getting a good night's sleep is very, very important. It gives your body a chance to recover. And scientific evidence has proven that microwave radiation, and I suspect strong magnetic fields do the same thing, affect your melatonin production. And your melatonin is a natural antioxidant, and it encourages a good, sound sleep that allows your body to recover from all the stuff you put it through during the day. So that's one of the first things that they suffer. Other things that they suffer are depression and anxiety, which could be as a result of poor sleeping, dizziness, ringing in the ears, nausea, even DNA damage has been linked to some of these things, memory problems. A lot of the symptoms that are very, very similar to being associated or being exposed to microwave radiation. And many of the experts right now are saying that being exposed to a high magnetic field is just about as dangerous as being exposed to microwave radiation. And it would be really good if people could have tests done in their home. You can get machines. You can borrow them from Hydro that will do the magnetic and the electric fields, and just see what the levels are. In many instances where people have hired someone to come in, the fields are very high, and some part of this can be due by the home's wiring. The old, knob and tube system that used to be around decades ago, put in older homes, those seem to be pretty high in electric and magnetic fields. And now many of the appliances and electrical devices that we use add to this, and certainly smart meters do. We get a lot of harmonics riding on the home's fields. And there are things you can do. You can put in some filters. You can improve the wiring. It's expensive to redo the wiring, but in many cases, that's the only thing you can do to reduce it. And it's very important. There are some filters as well. Some people have found that there's one called a sine tamer. Sine spelled S-I-N-E. It's the sine wave tamer that seems to be pretty effective. I don't really know much about it and don't have any statistics. Although one person has given me some and I'm going to have it in tonight's update, I would encourage people to take a look at it and take some measurements in your home and see if you are living in a home that needs to be cleaned up.
Sharon, thank you so much for chatting with us.
It's always my pleasure, Jim. Thank you so much.
My guest has been Sharon Noble, Director of the BC Coalition to Stop Smart Meters. Sharon, what's your website?
www.stopsmartmetersbc.com.
And if you have any questions for Sharon or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@howstreet.com. Find us on Twitter at TalkDigitalNet, our YouTube channel, Talk Digital Network. I'm Jim Goddard. Thank you for listening.
Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. The Goddard Report is available online and mobile at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. The Goddard Report is a production of Howe Street Media Incorporated.